live stream. You're gonna do the recording. So you want to start with the date, the time, the name of the committee meeting, if you have a quorum.
And yeah, we got a quorum. But nobody put it out for parks, which is gonna be in less than an hour.
It's in the inbox.
Oh, okay, cool.
That way you don't get cluttered on the table.
Gotcha. Okay, today is Thursday, May 8th. This is the nominating and election committee meeting. My name is Debbie Kowalik.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dwayne Williams.
And I'm D.R. Taylor.
And what time did you start the meeting, Deb?
6:17. Okay.
So you want to just keep going through the agenda?
All right, introductions into that. Reading of the conduct statement. Really, did we gotta really read the conduct statement on this? We cool, we kosher here.
Okay, well, just do the gist of it. Everybody has to abide by it, basically, right?
All right, any actions or behavior interfere with Community Board 11 will not be tolerated. The meeting may result in the individuals being asked to leave. Repeat violations by the same person or group may result in actions by the community board. All public speakers must address the full board or the committee with their concerns. Electioneering is not permissible. Engaging in acts of violence, including threats, are grounds for immediate suspension. Respect the equality, diversity, and privacy of all persons, and respecting the values and differences of cultures and opinion. Refrain from unpleasant, disparaging remarks. Abstain from all forms of harassment and by actively discouraging it, and disseminating false information is prohibited. Okay, Sergeant at Arms and Treasurer's election. Who were the people that were nominated?
Harry and Deb. Harry.
Harry was for treasurer. Okay, no,
Veronica and Harry.
Yes.
yeah.
So
And
if you want,
nobody against them?
not currently.
Okay.
So if you want to pull up, do you have a copy of the bylaws? You want to pull it up on the screen? I got my screen. I could share it.
I got my copy. I could share over here.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to bring on the screen, or do you want to just go off of what you have in front of you?
We'll go for me sharing screen. That doesn't go very well.
That's up to you. I mean, it's never a bad time to learn.
Okay.
So
for me to share, I had to find it before I could share it.
yeah, to the bottom middle of the screen.
What are they?
So what we should look at is the bylaws, because the bylaws is what guides this committee.
You said the bylaws are at the bottom of the screen?
No.
Why are you
To
on
share-
that Chrome?
So
I was seeing if it was on one of the open.
so to share your screen.
Well, I know how to do that, but so we need to pull up the bylaws from the website.
Yeah. So why don't you share the screen so that way we all know what you're doing? Or
Okay.
so
Share Chrome.
okay. So then go to the community board website.
Yeah.
Right there. The first button. Lower.
Oh, easy.
Okay. Go to about.
About.
Governance.
Governance.
What's covered up?
It's covered up.
Yeah. And
The first one?
No, not where the top one. Yeah. What date does it say at the top?
Yeah.
January 2024. So go to the view. Yeah,
No, the top one is April.
okay.
So the current one. It's the very
That's
top.
back.
There.
So that's the one.
Oh no, we're sharing. You can see our screen, right?
Yeah, but it's small. Hold on, I gotta maximize my screen. Yeah, okay, I got you. All right. So go to page 3.
Okay.
No. The top of page 3.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
see section 3.
Yeah, nominations prior to each election or whenever there's a vacancy in any office or position, the board chair shall appoint a nominating and election committee consisting of not less than 3 and no more than 5 appointed members at least 8 weeks prior to the full board meeting at which elections are scheduled to consider qualified candidates for each open office or position. Members of the nominating and election committee are not eligible to be candidates for any of the elected positions of the board.
Okay, so keep going.
Oh,
All
if I
right,
read-
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, the nominating and election committee may, but is, what?
Yeah.
That sentence is kind of like,
May, but is not
Yeah.
recommend.
Yeah, there you go.
okay, you need a comma there. But is not
Yeah.
required to recommend, i.e. nominate candidates for all open positions. Its recommendations shall in no way limit the rights of a member to nominate themselves or any other board members or members pursuant to this section of the bylaws. When a candidate has been nominated for a position and if after the close of nominations, there are no other qualified candidates who have been nominated, an election still must be held, for which a ballot shall be drafted and contain sufficient space for one write-in candidate who does not have to be nominated or second to run for and obtain the position. The committee shall ensure the qualifications of all candidates, draft and inspect election ballots, conduct the election, tabulate ballot results, and report the results to the board. The ballots shall be then given to the district manager for safekeeping in accordance with the city and state regulations. All nominees must have at least 9 months of board membership to be eligible to be a candidate for any officer position. Nominations shall be present. Can you move the cursor?
Oh, sorry.
Nominations shall be present in the months of April and May. Nominations may also be by any member and except for recommendations made by the nomination and election committee must be second to be valid. To secure their place on the ballot, nominees must also accept the nomination in writing within 10 working days of the nomination or in person at the April or May meeting. They must provide a written or oral statement to the committee board at least 72 hours prior to each election, indicating why they seek elected positions.
So let's summarize that. So the committee itself, you guys can make nominations, right?
Right.
We can make a nomination, it doesn't have to be second. That's what I'm saying? Oh, no, wait, it must be second. Wait. Nominations may also be
Wait, no,
made by
nomination.
any member except for recommendations made by the nominating. Wait a minute. You got them. Okay. All right, so if we make a recommendation, it doesn't have to be second. But if the rest of the board was making one, then it has to be second.
Yeah, so historically, the committee never makes,
Usually historically, the only who's an incumbent. In this case, Veronica and Harry have already been nominated and seconded, right? But still, do you guys want to, whatever reason you want to nominate somebody for those positions?
Now, I'm cool with them. I was just trying to
Yeah.
verify
Yeah.
what was being said in the bylaw.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, summarize it. So there's that, and then once we're past that, So we got to verify that, that the people who are nominated, I mean, in this case, Harry and both Veronica, they have 9 months of board membership. So there's no problems. That box is checked. Nominations were presented in April. They got to be presented again May. So there'll be a committee meeting report for the full board. Later on in the meeting where you had the motion section, I recommend you guys talk about who you want to be the chair of your committee to give the report at the full board, right? Because the way we work this now is that the committee votes for the chair of the committee. So I would not actually vote on the chair until the motion section after you hear from the gallery. If we have a gallery, because right now there is no gallery
Well, the guys
outside of.
have voted. They both like looked at me straight.
Yeah, well, let's wait till motions. Let's just make sure we're understanding everything that the committee is responsible for. I mean, so this section should probably be tweaked in the bylaws. We don't do paper ballots anymore. This is how this is
Right, I was gonna ask that.
written. Yeah, I mean, look, I draft the ballot. I run it by you guys. I'll send you an email. You look it over, make sure it looks kosher, and then so again, so we got 2 incumbents. I don't know if anybody will run against them, but at the same time, we still have the election. We still have to have a write-in option.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
And so I'll draft 2 ballots. If it's clear we're gonna have a competitive race, then I always draft a backup ballot. Just in case, because there can be runoffs, right? Last year, we had elections, we had a runoff.
Yeah,
But I only do that if it's obvious that there's going to be a runoff. We only had 1 election in the history of Community Board 11 where there was a write-in win. Not to say that can't still happen. So in terms of statements for the 2 candidates, I don't know if everybody saw, we did get a statement from Harry.
yeah, I was gonna say, I got from Harry, you got from Harry, yeah. Yeah, we all,
we-
we received it.
We still need a statement from Veronica, so if somebody from the committee wants to reach out to her and remind her of her
Okay.
obligation, that's
I-
on you guys.
I will.
But yeah, so we gotta take nominations from the floor in May, or you have to take nominations. So again, whoever you elect as your chair, that will be the first responsibility. Now, the nominating committee chair is not required to attend the leadership committee meeting, but it's always a good thing. Because it's a non-standing committee. The leadership committee is for standing committee chairs. But again, that's where we decide the calendar. I don't know if you guys are going to want another meeting. I don't think you're going to need another meeting. Historically, this committee doesn't meet. But I think it's good you're actually meeting. So it's very clear what needs to happen in June.
Right.
And now this is also in the bylaws, but the descriptions of the committees, or not the committees, the positions, they're 2-year terms, right? So
So
even though,
why is Harry running again if
because it was a special election, because
oh, Malcolm,
Malcolm was not reappointed to the board, therefore a seat was opened. So normally that election would have happened last year. It would have happened only this year.
okay.
Um,
So Harry's initial term was just the remainder of Malcolm's term.
yes, yep.
Okay.
But I mean, that's really the gist of it. It's just in sharing. So one thing that is also very helpful for me is we got a few board members. So we email out. Once I do the draft, I do it in Google Forms. I send you the draft, and then I email it out to the board at whenever after you go through. So again, in May you'll do nominations from the floor, and then depending on how that goes, I'll finalize the draft, and then in June at the report you'll say, okay, remember these are the candidates. They provided a statement, or if they didn't, we'll make that known in June, because if Veronica doesn't provide a statement, her name will not be on the ballot, and then it will be up to everybody to write in somebody's name.
But Didn't it also say it could be oral?
Yeah, within 72 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah,
says- it
yes.
says here they must provide a written or oral statement to the community board at least 72 hours. So it could be written.
So she could give an oral statement in April or May. in the
That's what I was
May
gonna say, she can do an oral statement in May and that be that.
But I'll tell you one reason this requirement came through during I think the first year of the pandemic, when we weren't meeting in person, and because what they used to give was stump speeches, and to cut down on the amount of time we wasted at a full board meeting, it would, that's why it was like 72 hours in advance, right?
Okay.
So that way time is not wasted in June.
Gotcha.
And
And
then,
people
as
still-
far as I know, Veronica already has a written statement, so she probably just has to update it. So
Right.
it's probably easier for her just to do that and send it on. But ultimately, it's her decision, right?
Yes.
So once that's done, so what happens is, so you get the report in June, and then once your report is over, you tell me, all right, Jeremy, please distribute the ballot. And I send out an email. Now, we have some people who aren't exactly tech savvy, that this is where you guys really come in handy. It's like, hey, who's having trouble? Go to them, use your own phone if you have to, and say, hey, here you go, fill it out,
Okay.
because it's all Google Forms. All you need is the link. The link is only sent to the board members, right?
But okay,
So,
but you're saying use our own funds if we have to, but we're allowed we're allowed to vote, yes?
yeah,
Okay, so
you're not allowed to run for a
we're not
position.
allowed to run for position, but we are allowed to vote. So if if say, I'm sorry to throw Sandy under the bus, but if Sandy's having an issue and I've already voted, isn't that somehow gonna negate my vote?
No.
No, because you can.
No, because she has to type in her name.
And then
It's,
for him, when it populates to an Excel doc, he can like take the people who have voted and like mark it off for the people who are on the board. And so if you voted twice, for instance, Jeremy could go and check in and say, you voted twice, why? But yeah, there'll be a detailed account of who voted. So when you
yeah,
create-
if there are two votes by one person, sometimes I'll go confer with them. Hey, I got two here. They don't line up. But if they line up, they're the same. I just delete one of them because I export it into Excel. And then I just put in formulas to make it automatically count.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about when you don't have a write-in, I'll already have the name typed. So all they got to do is check a box.
Right.
Okay,
If they don't check a box, we don't have the name on the ballot. That's when it becomes more problematic, and we have misspellings, and it takes more work on my end, especially, and ultimately yours. But yeah, so people have expressed concern that there's fraud. There'll be fraud. Okay, it's like it's pretty obvious. There's only we only have 36 members, right? If Joe Thompson's voting 5 times. I can easily go to Joe Thompson. Hey, Joe, which one is the correct one? And I can lock the voting. Once we get enough, once I get enough to get everybody in, I'll lock the voting so nobody can keep playing with it. But it
okay,
just goes to the board members. And I mean, I'll CC staff because I always CC staff on emails. But there should be no hanky panky, so to speak.
all right,
I mean, that's what you guys are going to be there for, to help. The biggest issue we have, generally speaking, is somebody can't figure it out. They can't click on the link. They didn't get the link, goes to their spam folder. Yeah. So if you're able to, you do it on your phone, and versus trying to grab Sandy's phone and trying to figure out, here's Sandy, click on the link. She does it. She has to type in her name, right?
right,
If she doesn't type in her name, it'll be counted as an abstention.
right.
But for the
Also,
most part, it's pretty.
It might be, I wonder if it'd be a good idea on top of sending it to people to avoid the going to spam, like creating a QR code that people can just, connect with their cameras on their phone that will take them directly to the link.
Right, like what I've been working with the the precinct council breakfast. It's a QR code. You scan the QR code, beep, it goes right to the form.
Spearhead that, fine.
Yeah, I can, you will, yeah, we can talk. I could do it.
But I don't want to have a QR code printed out that anybody can just grab. Again, it's easier if I just email it out. By now, most of the board members, like Sandy was having a spam issue, but we worked that out. Yeah, so we shouldn't have that problem.
Mm.
It's just, I'm just gonna be honest, some of our board members are not tech savvy. Some of them don't really use email. So
But-
like sometimes I have to text them the link.
Hey, do you know how to do the QR code stuff?
Yeah, I do, but
No, wait, hear me out for a second. So you have it planned your way that you've done like last year and such. But you also have in your little private pile of stuff at the meeting, a QR code. So that say somebody like Sandy who's like, oh, I can't find my email. You go over to Sandy and say, here, Sandy, scan this. And that goes to the link, to the link of what you've made for the voting.
I mean, to create a QR code for me, it's just an extra unnecessary step versus just copying and texting her the link. You know,
Okay.
if she can't find her email, I just text it to her and then she just gets it right there and then.
Right,
Or she just, generally speaking, sometimes it's easier. She's sitting next to Dear or whomever. Here you go, Sandy. You know, it's like, there you go. I'll pull it up for you and you do it on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be that complicated.
No, this one seems pretty straightforward and kind of easy because they're running unopposed.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to do all this beforehand, so it should be.
Right.
And you guys review the ballot, you know, and you know we can test it out. You test it out, fill it out, you know, and then I can do a mock results, you know, like
All right.
write in Mickey Mouse, you know, see. But then I have the power. I can just delete it all
Exactly.
from scratch pretty easily.
Right. Yeah, Cindy, when Cindy was showing me how to do the QR code, the spreadsheet stuff with the breakfast, you know, yeah, we did a couple of trial and errors. And as we were doing the trial and errors, then we realized, okay, we need this, we don't need that, you know. So
Okay.
it's good to do trial and error.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's cool. I'm voting for Mickey.
I'm voting for Minnie.
Excuse me, Deborah, the 49th Pizza Community Breakfast Party, when is it? And where?
It's at Einstein.
Huh.
But this is a meeting right now.
Oh, sorry.
We're on the internet.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, do you want? Is there any other questions, concerns, things to hash out? You think, or is that good for?
Of this?
Simple.
No. No,
Yeah.
so we can log out of this and get ready to soon log in for parks.
No, I think we had.
Okay, so hold on. So
Oh, sorry.
we do have Brian here, but Brian, if you have questions about the committee, ask them. But if you have
No,
some
he's
about
asking about the breakfast.
so if you could ask that after the meeting, Brian, that would be
Exactly.
great.
Yeah. That's what
Okay.
that's why I wanted to get offline here so I can answer Brian.
All right, and so do you guys want to make a motion about chair?
Yes, I rise to make a motion to nominate Deborah as chair.
Second.
I accept.
So it's unanimous. Right. Now, do you want to select a co-chair, Debbie,
Ah.
in the event that you're not able to attend the meeting?
Away. Please. I don't want to take your thunder away.
His finger quick was important to use.
Sure, I'll be.
I nominate Deanne Taylor to be co-chair of the nominating committee.
I seconded that. I second that.
I deny. I'm just kidding. I accept.
All right, so then,
Accepts.
so I'll instruct Chris to publish, to update the website tomorrow. It's Debbie chair and then Dear co-chair. And I will work on a draft as soon as possible. If I don't know exactly when I'll get it done. It shouldn't be too difficult. I have copies from previous years and I just update it, or I do a copy or whatever.
Okay,
So I'll send it to all three of you. You want to test it out? You want tweaks? Anytime we can improve of something, especially the bylaws, the way they're written.
right,
Because again, this is all still arguably before COVID, the way it's written.
right,
But if you look at section 4 of the bylaws, right, we do have to have the election in June. A majority of the appointed members present voting shall be required. And then it talks about runoff stuff. But this is the other important thing you should say in your report, especially for people who are new. All your votes will be public.
okay,
It wasn't always that way, but eventually there was some type of ruling, and it's very clear that all your votes need to be made public. And look, that's the case at all times. When you guys vote on something, your vote will always. That's why we took down the names of who abstained, because technically officially we have to know how each person voted on every single thing.
right.
Sometimes people, they think their vote's private and they get upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so all votes are public. We gotta get on Veronica for her statement, and the voting is in June.
That's it. That's needed.
Yep, and nominations in May.
And
And-
yeah, the next
and be-
nominations in May.
June.
And be prepared to give the report in May, Debbie, and June.
Wait, what report? I like that. All right, that,
You gotta take nominations from the floor in May.
okay,
And I also announce, hey, everybody, you should have received a statement from Harry. Right, whenever we get Veronica's, if we get it in time for May,
right,
make that statement too, or in June, whenever,
okay. All right, so that covers all the bases?
as far as unless you guys have questions.
I don't have any questions. You have any questions?
No questions. I'm good.
We good.
All right, so you want to end the meeting then, or?
Yeah, we're gonna end this meeting and get ready to log in for parks.
Okay. And also, one other thing I'll say is, when you get a chance, look at the June meeting minutes. Look at how the votes were tallied, make sure that looks okay to
June
you.
last year?
No. you
Yeah,
mean
June of
April.
last year. You don't have to do it now, but, at some point,
Okay,
so you can see how the votes were done, how the spreadsheet was done, whatever.
right, okay. Yes, okay, all right, so, all right, we're logging off. Oh, and the meeting ends at, the meeting's ending at 6:45 PM.
Motion to end the meeting.
Motion to end the meeting?
Yeah, you don't need a motion. You just
Okay.
the time like you did, all right? The
Uh,
only time you need a motion is for an actual board, was the executive board or the full board,
Okay,
all right?
all right, see you.